Well, apparently, my girlfriend of 5 months has been living a second life this entire time. I met her at a bar and I thought seemingly she was amazing until I came across her Facebook profile. Guys, that's going to be story 1, and yes, it does come complete with an update. If you don't know who I am, I'm Mr. Reddito, and I read daily videos of some of the most entertaining topics. If that sounds like something you like, check out the channel and let's jump into story 1. 5 months ago, I met this great woman at a bar. She was with her friends and I bought drinks for all of them and struck up conversation with her. We hit it off instantly and I took her home that night and had mind-blowing sex. She did not stay the night though, saying she had to get up early for work. Over the next 5 months, we've had an awesome relationship. We went on some nice dates and did have sexual intercourse at least 3 times a week. She only stayed the night very rarely, but I did not think much of this as she did indeed have to get up early. Anytime I tried to suggest possibly living together, she said she wasn't ready for that yet. Understandable. We did hang out at her place a few times, but just like her staying the night, it was very rare. I just chalked this up of her feeling more comfortable at my apartment since it was cozier. Silly freaking me not to question why an apparently single woman lived in a big house. I have Facebook, but I don't use it or any other social media. I think it's a waste of time, and she told me she does not use it either. Well, last week, I decided to mess around on Facebook for a bit, and I found her profile, seeing as we have 2 mutual friends. Really, just acquaintances for me. This is where it gets weird. Her name was totally different from what I've known her as. She seemingly is happily married and has 2 kids around age 3 and 6. She posts a ton of pictures of her and her husband doing all sorts of coupley stuff. So, I doubt they're separated or going through a divorce. She has never told me any of this. I figured out pretty quick that I was the other man. And honestly, I feel physically ill knowing that. I have a visceral hatred for cheaters and feel just gross that I've done this. I feel so stupid that I've never figured this out earlier. Either I'm just an idiot or she hid this masterfully, maybe both. She never once mentioned married with children, saying that she was single. Heck, even when I went to her house, I did not see any family pictures or any traces of her family. This jerk actually made the effort to hide any indications that she was married and had kids. I just feel sick even typing this. I haven't contacted her since I found out with the excuse that I need to focus on my job for a bit. She was cool with it, still sends me nudes and sexual text and how eager she is to see me again. I respond half-heartedly but only to stop her from getting suspicious. God, I feel nauseous. I'm going to tell her husband. This is just so wrong and it hurts me to know that this man's being deceived by his terrible wife. This hits close to home since my aunt pulled this shit on my uncle and he's the kindest man alive. Thankfully, I have a habit of not deleting any text manually, so I still have the majority of our text messages. I screenshotted everything so I could show them to her husband. I want to figure out a way to meet in person, but I feel like he's going to tell his wife, "Oh, hey, honey, some guy named othermanproblems asked me to meet him for coffee." And that would allow her to shovel some BS down his throat. From his Facebook, I found out where he works, so I'm thinking I could just try to catch him shortly after he leaves. I plan to divulge all details of the affair, give him all the screenshots, and for my own safety, explain I had no idea she was married. I don't know if proof of identity will help him out, but I feel like it's the least I can do. I'm still sickened that she could lie to her family like this, so I hope she gets what's coming to her. Some of you might suggest that he's a cuckold fetish, or maybe they even have an open relationship, or some garbage like that. Really? What are the chances? Besides, if he really did have one of those fetishes, I'm sure she would have mentioned it or took pics and videos of us doing stuff so she could show it to him. And if they were in an open relationship, I'm certain she would have told me that. No, I'm pretty sure she is cheating on her husband. So, what should I do? Should I try and request to meet up online? Or should I try to find him in person? To those of you who might just recommend telling her, either you tell him or I will. Hell hecking no. I'm not gonna give her an opportunity to weave some bullcrap tale of how she had an emotional affair with me, moment of weakness, or some stupid vulgar stuff like that. And to those of you who are saying break up with her and just stay out of it entirely, no. I'm not going to let her continue to lie and betray him under the excuse that, quote, it's not my problem anymore. I'm not a bad person. I won't give her a free pass for cheating. Guys, when I said this story was a roller coaster, I was not kidding. How in the world can this woman do this for 5 months to someone she says she cares about so much? The fact that she would remove all toys from the house, all pictures on the wall that show any signs of a family, is just mind-blowing that she would go this deep. I need to know from you guys in the comment section below what exactly you would do if you were OP and you knew you had to approach the husband to let him know what's happening. Guys, there's still a complete update for this, but in my opinion, on the first part, this lady is crazy. Let's check out the update. And if you guys are enjoying this so far, do show the channel some love by smashing that like button. Here comes the update. Currently typing this from my hospital bed because he beat the crap out of me. Ugh. Just kidding. Some posters tried to tell me not to tell him, but screw that. Most of you told me to go through with it, but through email or letter, basically without physical interaction. Even though it was a massive risk, I thought it would be better for me to explain this crap in him in person. So I decided to meet him. I called work explaining I'd be late, then drove over to his workplace around 7:20 in the morning. I just went inside and waited in the lobby, watching the door for him to appear. He came in around 8 a.m. and I immediately walked up to him, told him my name and said I have something important to tell him. I asked if he could meet me after work at a nearby Starbucks. He was perplexed, but I convinced him that it's very important and told him not to tell a soul. He agreed, thankfully. So then I went to my job and went about the day as usual. At 5:30 I was waiting at the Starbucks and he came in shortly after. Then the conversation began. I explained to him that I was going to say would crush him, and I requested a chance to say all my piece without interruption. He allowed this, so I told him everything. About how I met his wife, how she used a fake name, the 5-month affair, the lengths she went to conceal it, everything. For my own safety, I emphasized how I did not know she was married, how I found out about her secret, and how I decided to tell him as soon as I found out. I then handed him a folder containing all the screenshots. He looked through all of it, then just stared at his coffee in total silence for a minute or two. He then replied, firstly thanking me for coming to him with this information, and for doing the right thing. He said if he were in my position, he would have done the same thing as well. Then he told me how he suspected his wife was cheating, but then his wife lied to him, assuring him nothing was going on. Then for the next 10 minutes, he asked questions about the affair, like about the dates we went on, the sex, and those conversations, etc. I told him the complete truth. By the end of this, he was enraged but did not attack me or anything. Instead, he thanked me once more for telling him and told me I'm a good man. Then he said that although he appreciates me telling him, he told me never to contact him again for obvious reasons. I totally understand and was cool with it. At this point, he was getting up to leave, so I asked him what he plans to do. He said he would definitely divorce her and that the screenshots would help him out since they apparently have an indefinitely clause in their prenup. She cheated on him at the early stages of their relationship. I was elated to hear this, wished him the best luck, and we parted ways. I paid for his coffee. So there it is. Thankfully, I escaped unharmed, no injuries, no wounds, nothing. I deleted the cheating girl's number and cleared my phone of all traces of the crap storm. I'm proud of what I did, and I pray that the cheating girls face harsh justice. Guys, I honestly had no idea what to expect with that update. It turns out that the guy was actually not a bad person, and he thanked OP for doing this. Let me know if you thought that was going to happen, or you thought something totally different was. I was actually reading the comments down below in the original post, and OP mentioned that the guy was 6'7" and would have dwarfed him in a fight, so I bet that was pretty intimidating. Our next story on the day is an Am I the A-hole story, which involves a wife and a sister when the sister cracks a joke and the husband laughs. Guys, this one gets pretty intense, and we'll vote at the end to see if you think OP was the a-hole. I hope you're enjoying the story so far, and I aim to give you a video every single day. It's Mr. Reddito here, and we're about to jump into story number 2. My wife, Mina, enjoys dressing up. Her style is very feminine, and she's always dolled up, even to go shopping. She's always glowing and is very confident in her appearance. She looks good, and she knows it. My sister Betty believes in traditional ideas of masculinity and femininity. Women are meant to stay home with the children, while the men are meant to provide for the household. We talk when we have to, but I try to avoid her. Each time we see Betty, she'll manage to slip a comment about how my wife is wearing an outfit. She'll either comment on how ladylike it is or how, for lack of better word, vulgar it looks. Mina always rolls her eyes and laughs it off. I don't think the comments bother her, but I try to tell Betty to mind her own business. Betty invited us for dinner to celebrate her pregnancy. On the invitation, she stated that the dress code was formal. She did not mention a certain color of style of clothing, only that you have to dress formally. Mina wore this dark green suit that fit her very well. I'm 100% certain that it fit in the dress code. It was formal, nothing revealing or outlandish, and I thought she looked good. When Betty opened the door, I could see the look of disgust on her face when she saw Mina. The first thing she asked was, very condescendingly by the way, "Are you really wearing that?" Mina smiled and replied, "Yes." Throughout the night, I could tell Betty was talking about Mina to my family. I could see her point and laugh or whisper something in someone's ear, or make a face anytime Mina walked by. At one point, Betty joked about Mina wearing the pants in the marriage, leaving me to wear all the pink frilly dresses. Mina is too masculine, leaving me to be the wife in the relationship. As distasteful as these jokes were, Mina asked me not to make a big deal. After we all eaten and Betty stood up to make a toast. At first, her speech started off well. It was sweet, however, near the end, Betty decided to throw passive-aggressive comments towards Mina. I'm sure I don't remember all of it, but she essentially said something along the lines of, "It's going to be hard raising my daughter in a world where women want to act and dress like men." All while making direct contact with Mina. The devil often hides in the people that are closest to us, and if you can spot him, don't let him in your house. During that entire section of her speech, her eyes never left Mina. Before the end of the speech, Mina stood up from the table and left. I followed her. I got a bunch of texts from my brother-in-law scolding me for leaving in the middle of my sister's speech. Betty called me, calling me rude for leaving while she was speaking and not, quote, controlling my hot-headed wife. When I heard this, I laughed and hung up the phone. That led to more text. When I told Mina, she laughed, but suggested I do apologize in an effort to make this whole thing blow over. Hey guys, I'm gonna go ahead and say not the a-hole. I mean, what in the world is that? Why is the sister acting like that? In my opinion, I do believe the sister is jealous. I ran across one comment from the original post that I will read now. It says, not the a-hole. Your sister is a misogynist who tries to impose her rigid stereotypes on others. I would not apologize for crap because she was disrespectful as heck. You should walk around with 0 ducks because your sister gave 0 ducks when she decided to be passive-aggressive. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. Do you agree or not? In my opinion, I say not the a-hole. Our final story for the day, guys, is a story about an entitled mother. She likes to park in a disabled parking spot, and she's not disabled. This one gets pretty dicey, so guys, here comes the final story of the day. My mother is a mega Karen. I have 16 years of stories to tell about her entitlement. Here's yet another one. This happened in 2004 when I was 14. We just moved from Australia to New Zealand. The town had a population of around 12,000 people, which was a big step up from the town we moved from, which was around 2,000. It seemed like my mom's entitlement got worse by having an extra 10,000 people for her to annoy. Within a month, my sister and I had settled into our new schools, and Mother Dearest found her preferred, cheapest grocery store to shop at. I should mention that my mom is not disabled, but that did not stop her from parking in disabled parking spots. The first month went fine until my mother got lazy. Whenever we went grocery shopping, she would always complain, while walking towards the entrance, that there was never anyone parked in the disabled parking spots, and she would say things like, quote, I don't see why I'm not allowed to park there. There's nobody in this damn town that needs it anyways. This last comment was total BS on her part, as there was a paraplegic who lived in the town which she knew about. And regardless, those spaces are for disabled people, not her. Then one day, me and my sister were in the car while my mom was driving to the grocery store. We usually parked close to the front door, but to the side where there were usually a few spare parking spots. I was expecting her to stop there, but she did not. Instead, she drove all the way to the front and parked in the disabled spot. The following conversation went as followed. Mom, this is a disabled park. You can't stop here. Of course I can. This spot is vacant. It's illegal for you to park here. You'll get a fine. No, I won't. I have the right to park here if there's no disabled person parked there. I don't see anyone disabled. Do you? Whatever, Mom. You're going to get a fine. I get out of the car and walk across the street to the park. I did not want to be seen with my mother, but I wanted to keep an eye out for the parking officer or police person who I knew would come. Even in a small town, the police were very diligent about rule breakers. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, I saw a policeman walk up to the car, check the license and lack of disabled sticker, write a ticket, and placed it square on her window screen. I sent Mother Dearest a text that I'd meet her at the patrol station when she was done. I did not want to be seen getting into her car, but I made sure to hang around so I could see her reaction when she saw the fine. Sure enough, 10 minutes later I saw my mom come out of the store, see the ticket, and she flipped out. She started cursing and stomping her feet on the ground like a child that lost their little toy. Only in this case, it was a fine of $80. I chuckled to myself as I walked to the gas station a few blocks over. I got there a few minutes before my mom did, and I could see the anger of her face as she got out of the car, slammed the door, and started filling up her tank. Me, fakingly concerning, what's wrong, Mom? Shut your mouth! I smiled and got into the car. When we got home, my mom got straight on the phone to debate the parking fine. I overheard the phone call. It went like this. Yeah, I got a fine for parking in an empty spot. There was nobody else parked there, but I had to park there because I have a bad leg and can't walk far. What? No, I don't have a sticker, but that doesn't matter. No, hold on. What? No, disabled? No, you stupid beep! I'm not paying the fine. And then she hangs up. A month later, I'd assumed she paid for the fine, but obviously not. She got a letter in the mail regarding an unpaid fine, which was now $100 due to relayed payment. Mom went to the courthouse and paid it, but I did not hear the end of it for 3 months after that, as she'd complain about it any chance she got, making out like she was the victim. I wish I could say that she learned her lesson, but she did not. She parked there a few more times and shock horror and got more fines. Karens never learn. Guys, that was one of the most entitled mothers I've read in a while. The nerve of this Karen to act like that. Let me know what you guys make of this story down in the comment section below. I actually ran across a comment that had a similar story. It went along the lines of, Back when my grandfather owned a store, he had a particular hatred for those who parked in the handicapped spot, without actually being handicapped. He'd walk out, check each one for a tag and a placard, and call a buddy who owned a towing company. He had at least 100 cars towed while he worked there. Alright guys, let me know what you think of this Karen story and drop your similar stories in the section below. That's going to wrap up all the video for today. I hope you did enjoy the content, and as always, Mr. Reddito will be back tomorrow for another video. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a wonderful night.